This game is super neat. Wow, just look at them go. But disclaimer, I actually haven't played a lot of Titanfall 2. I'm just under 8 hours over this past week because with the holidays approaching, some real-life obligations are spiking out of control. Things are getting nuts over here, so don't expect this to be a kind of comprehensive overall review, so much as just a quicker and more specific discussion about a feature of this game that I think is just super cute. And that is skill-based movement. This is something that I bet a lot of old-school PC gamers consider a truly lost art, and that is a deep-level set of movement mechanics that are based on the player's momentum, their face direction, and their jumping rhythm that gives them a new set of movements just not possible with a more, surface-level application of the game's controls. This stuff was ubiquitous among the old Quake hierarchy of arena shooters where bunny hopping was considered an exploit by the devs and a pastime by the fans, but let's not forget that this was later on embraced by the devs who intentionally implicated dashing, dodge jumping, and wall jumping in UT 2K4, before Team Fortress 2K7 rolled out with trailers of soldiers and demo men blasting across the map with momentum from their own explosions. But that was the same year Modern Warfare came out and established a new ubiquity of first-person shooting all about quick time to kills and tactical positioning. Facilitating that flow of quick kills for advantaged players was the slow movement speed for the players on the receiving end. The core game design did not allow for players to bunny hop their way out of trouble, not to mention that it also would have looked ridiculous after the step up to 7th generation console graphics. But I think it's important to note that the past 2 years, since 2014, have really seen the ubiquity of that fast death, stop and pop shooting decline, and I don't doubt that Titanfall 1 played a role in that. After 7 years of that one very specific style of play absolutely dominating, we had a new shooter come out to capitalize on that genre fatigue by making movement fast again. Titanfall was about gaining speed and retaining it, just like when you were bunny hopping your way through Quake, but combined with Modern Warfare's drip feed of rewarded abilities and fast kills. And before you knew it, boosted sliding and wall running are now standard issue movements in the CODs and even the Halos. And I think that's why I've been enjoying these early hours of Titanfall 2 so much. It feels like a marriage between old and new. There are guaranteed moments in every match where my keyboard is absolutely going nuts and giving me the kind of adrenaline rush I haven't felt in years. And that is thanks to a lot of the skill-based movement tools the game gives you, both on the surface level and also implicitly behind the scenes. A grappling hook can have you scaling through the air vertically without slowing down, if not also speeding up if you can manage to get a boost from some gravity along the way. Crouch sliding and wall running boost you faster because video games don't have to follow realistic physics. And a stim pack loadout can give you just a straight and simple boost when you press the button. So you're supposed to chain together wall running and crouch sliding with your grapple or your stim to go fast, but what players have also discovered is that the first few frames of the crouch sliding animation don't really slow you down at all if you jump again. So you can use it to retain your speed over horizontal distances when there aren't vertical options, just like bunny hopping. Basically, put hold crouch on a mouse button and hold that down while you tap jump and you're good. For some reason, strafing while you're doing this or flying through the air further cancels out deceleration, so regularly holding down a strafe button to curve into a turn while hopping or jumping makes you go fast. And going fast in this game is super duper fun. It is a blast. I have complaints with the way the game handles team balancing and match timing and distributes the Titans, but movement is super spot on, and I'm at least loving that aspect of it. But that doesn't mean that the changes they made to Titanfall 2's movements weren't met with controversy. I didn't play a lot of the first game, just a few days of the open beta before a few middling reviews and a small player base scared me off from making the purchase, but now I wish I had known what it was like. Early criticisms over the sequel's mobility compared to the first pointed out slower speeds while flying through the air and running on walls, as well as faster deceleration when doing the slide hopping. These are all factors that have been sped up by the time I finally got to the game, but hardcore fans still insist it's slower than the previous game, and when I see videos of the pros playing TF1, I can kinda see where they're coming from. Oh my god! But the changes they've made to that movement system going into the sequel show how hard of a relationship developers can sometimes have with the systems they've created. In August, the developers wrote that their early slowdown of Titanfall 2's movement was implemented to make gunplay feel better, to make close-range firefights feel less chaotic so that you could track the targets better. Negative player feedback had them speed these things up again, and soon enough, in October, they were claiming the game has lightning-fast movement, with even more options to whip around the map like never before. Once you play Titanfall 2, everything else is gonna feel incredibly slow. And I guess one of the reasons why players were so eager to go fast is because that works as a kind of more natural way to increase the distance of those gunfights and make tracking targets easier. My argument, and why I think I'm enjoying this style of movement, is that it makes me feel like there's always a way to dash out of those quick deaths. Compared to this game in Battlefield 1, I'm dying all the time from left, right, back, even above. In Titanfall 2, I at least have a chance to run away. But that gives the impression that the developers don't really know how much of their game they want to be acknowledging. You won't see official Titanfall trailers showcasing the slide hopping or the air strafing, and a request for an interview on the topic was met with your standard issue brick wall of silence, but these tricks are acknowledged in patch notes, they're hinted at by the loading tips, and were openly taught in a video tutorial series partly sponsored by EA. And being wishy-washy about the utility of their games' subsystems is a totally familiar situation. In my circle of friends, there was argument over whether or not Titanfall 2's slide hopping and air strafing were glitches or intended design. Whether or not anyone can figure that out for certain, I am content just dealing with it and enjoying the more interesting toolset it gives experienced players. Disclaimer, I'm not actually an experienced player, I'm still only 8 hours in, it's actually really simple stuff. Exploiting the momentum of one animation cycle chaining into the next for surprisingly practical and skillful uses isn't a new situation at all. It happens a lot, from the Dark Souls move swap exploit to blade canceling and Revengeance to wave dashing and Smash to what else but the pinnacle example, bunny hopping in Quake. Half-Life and all its relatives on that family tree were based on the Quake engine, and way back when they were relevant in 2003, an interview about the incoming launches of Half-Life 2 and Team Fortress 2 had Gabe Newell simply saying, "We don't particularly like bunny hopping." Keep in mind that this was back when TF2 was not all cartoony. Given their game and visual design, it didn't make a lot of sense for the more realistically proportioned soldiers of Counter-Strike and Team Fortress to be bunny hopping across those maps. On the other hand, it is way less jarring to look at when the characters zipping all over the place are futuristic, rocket-powered robot people, or cartoons. The dominant FPS trend of the now is slowly steering towards those sci-fi settings where fast, skill-based movement is more appropriate, and as time goes on, it's also going to be further handled by fans who grew up exploiting the exploits back in the day rather than the older developers who were trying to patch them out at the same time. It seemed like just 4 years ago, a AAA first-person shooter openly embracing and encouraging bunny hop was a pipe dream, and holy shit, it's actually happening. Kinda. I mean, you're technically slide hopping instead of bunny hopping, but whatever, it accomplishes the same thing. But more importantly, I think developers are realizing that this can create wildly new variations on your typical FPS gameplay. Remember higher-budgeted first-person parkour experiments like Mirror's Edge and Brink? They may have been worthy sacrifices to make our way here. And the place that we're at here right now may be a renaissance of first-person skill-based movement.
Sector B is clear of Remnant Fleet forces.
Hi, my name's George Wheatman, and I'm your father. This isn't my house, and that's why I'm here to tell you about George Socks. George Socks are a comfortable and appealing new revolution in outerwear. They're socks, but with George. They're back, and they make a great snack. Each new pair is baked with love and wonder, enriched in every stitch. Wow! They're tasty and edible and healthy too. And that's why these people love their George Socks as much as you.
Having played these George Socks to completion, I can say that they're definitely the Dark Souls of video themed apparel, and they're perfect for wearing on my days off while I hole up in my room playing old PS2 games.
I like them.
And because of our late holiday laziness special, we'll be shipping them out from December 16th to December 30th. Because I forgot to do this sooner, they'll be sure to arrive weeks after the holidays. So order some today and be late to the occasion with George.